Brought to you by Rezilon. Growing hay is a labor of love, and even with all that labor, sometimes Mother Nature can still throw you a curveball. Over time, you might find some invasive species of weeds making their way into your hay fields. 3 of my biggest opponents have been crabgrass, foxtail, and sandbur. The first step to cleaning up those problem weeds was adding a reliable pre-emergent, and using Rezilon twice a year has significantly cleaned up my hay fields. So let's dive into these plants. Let's start with foxtail. One very important thing you need to do is identify if you're dealing with an annual or perennial plant. So how do we know which one we're dealing with? It starts with the roots. At first glance, these 2 varieties can look very similar. That's why it's important to get a positive identification. This one here has classic hair-like roots, so this is going to be an annual variety. This plant here has rhizomes, or these knot-like structures. This is perennial, giving this plant its name, knotroot foxtail. The good news is all varieties of foxtail can largely be prevented with Rezilon. Only the established knotroot foxtail plants will have to be controlled with a post-emergent herbicide. Crabgrass is an annual grass that can sprout in large proportions. It can very quickly multiply, taking over your Bermuda fields. And one thing that makes it especially troublesome is its extended drying time compared to Bermuda grass. Sandbur is another one of those plants that can be perennial or annual. And the only way to identify which one we're dealing with in our field is to wait till late winter or early spring and check the stem where it meets the crown. If it's brown and dry, it's annual. If it still appears green and has moisture in it, it's perennial. And perennial plants will more than likely require a post-emergent herbicide. A lot of plants can look similar at a glance. That's why it's very important to scout and properly identify what species you're dealing with. Pre-emergent treatment with Rezilon can greatly reduce unwanted grasses in your Bermuda fields, along with over 60 species of broadleaf weeds. And I think we can all agree, investing in prevention is going to be way more beneficial than looking for a cure. And for more information on all these topics, plus many more, go to Rezilon.com and download your free premium hay growers guide.